Alright, this is my weigh-in vlog, following in my original tradition when I originally did lose a good amount of weight. So I lost 3 pounds since I did my weigh-in. Now my buddy's scale has me up at a higher weight. It's scales are gonna read different things, so as long as both numbers goes down, even though his is higher and mine is lower, as long as it's going down, we're moving in the right direction. Weight loss is not a perfect A and B thing, and you have to deal with the oscillations of going back and forth. Sometimes, it can be more. I could gain weight. I could do everything I'm supposed to do and still end up weighing more the next time I weigh in. So it's very important to keep that in mind. But I am excited that according to my scale, I'm out of the 270s, which is a good thing, and it's important for me to stay focused. And it's kind of hard because you're excited about that, but everybody in adult life is not interested in losing weight. They just kind of accept things the way they are. Weight loss is not on their mind. I'm quite sure maybe there are things that they're more focused and concentrated on and more skilled at that I probably don't have on my mind. But this is a vlog dealing with me and how I'm doing. And this morning I created I didn't create anything, but I did prepare myself some oatmeal. Now, I didn't do the instant oatmeal that you get in the box where it's a maple brown sugar thing. No, this was OG oatmeal, 1 minute fast cooking oatmeal, and no sugar or anything. It's straight up oatmeal, and one serving of that is about 40 grams. When I combined that with the water and cooked it, I was like, dang, that's a lot of oatmeal. I was like, that's 40 grams and that's 150 calories, because you see that without the sugars added in there. Which typically a bag of that instant oatmeal is about 160 calories. But in this case, plain oatmeal is 150 calories. I did meal prep like how I should, because yesterday I went to a birthday party out the blue. I normally don't like to do things like that, and I have consequences because I didn't go on with my plan of doing meal prep. And I tell you, man, Sunday night is just, unless you're motivated or like really focused, then you're like, nah, I'm doing this. Sunday nights are like the worst things to plan anything. You're thinking about work, you're trying to settle down after a long day of trying not to do much, and you still end up doing stuff. But as for me, I didn't meal prep, but I'm still have a plan to navigate. So there's a place where they serve burgers at near the schools that I'm going to, and in that case I'm not going to be eating a bunch just to reduce that calorie count, because I don't have any nutritional info. I don't know how much or what I'm eating, so it totally messes up my plan. I'm canceling Pepsi and sodas for August, sweet teas, so there will be no Gold Peak sweet teas, no Pepsis. I'm sure I'm going to have situations that I'm going to run into where there will be sodas available, and I'm sure I'm going to have that craving kick in after work or during the middle of the day, like, well, I can have this, and I know that my brain will try and rationalize that situation where you got a craving. But I'm not going to do that. I want to reach 260 pounds in the month of August. That is my goal. I'm going to continue to work out. I really have to work on my strength training more than my cardio. Still going to be jumping rope. That's a good thing. I'm getting a little bit better than that. And I had an observation. I was like, man, it's really hard to work out if you're not in shape and you're overweight. And there's two things working against you. You don't have much muscle tone. You don't have much cardiovascular ability. And then you're heavy. And so at base level, you're heavier to a person like a person who's not in shape. If they have more fat on their body, it takes more effort for them to move than someone who's not in shape that's skinny. Like, I remember having a friend, and I was trying out yoga, which I want to get into, to see if it can help me with sciatica issues and foot issues. But that little person was just hopping around. I'm like, damn, I can outrun you in distance without stopping. but you over here hopping around in these yoga positions. I'm like, dang, okay. So there's still a lot to learn, but I want to dedicate more of my downtime in my life to health and weight loss. I'm thinking about fitness and fighting off diabetes. And, you know, it just goes to show you that I was watching the video this morning about Coca-Cola in Mexico and how, like, it's a very popular drink there. But there's still like a obesity epidemic in Mexico, and people are drinking Coca-Cola and having diabetic issues. My dad had diabetes issues, and, you know, and I'm like, wow, you know, when you think about what can happen to your dad, you also think, well, maybe it can happen to you. And so one of my reasons why to do this and go through this, and even though it's a lonely journey sometimes, is to prevent diabetes and the complications that come with it. It's a real thing. I don't like how it's disproportionate among cultures and things like that. You know, I know there are a lot of, from what I've observed, and even at the party I was at yesterday, you know, I observed a lot of obesity, and it was just obesity by default. And I guess that's every family has obesity problems, but, you know, when I drive through neighborhoods, I don't see, and it could be for a lot of reasons, but I'm just going to tell you at base value what I see and what I interpret from it. What I see around these neighborhoods is, you know, I see white women jogging. I see more or less white men jogging through these neighborhoods. Let me look. Oh, you know, you might see someone black doing it, but it's just not as much. And for it to be so densely populated of African American community, you know, I wish I could see more African Americans jogging and doing things like that. But I know there's some reasons on that. But yeah, you know, talking about Mexico and the Coca-Cola pandemic it's not a pandemic. It's just that Coca-Cola is just a highly profitable drink to produce, and people drink it and it kills them very slowly. Let's just be honest with it. It kills them very slowly. And even though Coke can make changes to their brand, they're not gonna, you know, they got it just right. They figured out just the right way to get it to the right taste. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I love me some Pepsi. I will drink it. I actually have a bottle in my refrigerator, and I'm like, dang, I'm not even trying to drink soda this month. So I got a whole bottle of Temptation inside of my refrigerator. That even now I'm thinking, man, do I want to throw that bottle out? I spent good money on that bottle. It's ice cold. It's a cherry Pepsi. You know, I don't want to get rid of that. See what I'm saying? And so it goes back to the individuals in Mexico, and it's a cultural thing now. Like, they think it's medicinal. They think it's medicinal, they think it's medicinal, and they think that, you know, all these properties, like, yeah, I got to get that. And it's not the case. So we have to be individualistic in our determination. It's not Coca-Cola's fault, but they're only going to take so much responsibility for what they're doing. And, you know, I think about diabetes, I think about overweightness and obesity, and I think about my father and how he died because of health concerns that, you know, the signs were there to change, and I'm trying to catch my warning signs to change. And it's hard, but I just wanted to break that chain of obesity in my family, and I've been really struggling to do it. I made headway, then I slid back. I let my emotions get the best of me, and now I'm turning back again to weight loss, and I'm focused more on that. And it took some time because I was dabbling, you know, going to cookouts, having them urges to go to cookouts, and, you know, the cookout will list the calories as one thing, and then you look at it up on MyFitnessPal, and it's another thing. Not the thing. And also thinking about my father and how he died, and then I was just at a funeral, and there was some issues in the family with the funeral. I've never seen a funeral where there were issues in the family like that before. I didn't know it was a thing. I thought everybody would be focused and trying to mourn the person who died, but there were issues there, like the father's son who doesn't live here, and I'm not really even sure how close a relationship they had, because the father didn't really talk about him too much. The son was interrupting the funeral, talking about we need to do it in the African tradition, and all this other stuff, but the spouse saying no, we stick it to the program. And I think that it was a horrible misunderstanding, but I was starting to kind of get a little concerned because I friended him on Facebook to find out more information on his dad, what happened, is there a funeral, and so I friended him, but then I will watch him start talking, and then I will start learning more about his lifestyle, and he's on the video just smoking, he's on the raw style lifestyle, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And then he just kind of sitting there just smoking and just talking, and then I'm like, where are you going with this? And that was kind of like my first sign, like, all right. But then he interrupted the funeral, and then on top of that, this person was yelling and arguing in the funeral home because he couldn't keep his dad's bass guitar. And in my opinion, if someone loses a spouse, I personally feel like the spouse should be prioritized in what the spouse needs first, even over the kids, especially if they're adult kids. Now, if they're children kids, then maybe there are compromises, but if you're dealing with a married couple who has adult kids, that the concerns of the spouse who lost their spouse be met first, because that person didn't make no vow with anybody else to cleave, nobody else except for that spouse. So that spouse comes first, even over the kids. Some may disagree, but even as I marry, my priority will be to my spouse, even over the kids, especially when they're adults. Now, I have not seen that demonstrated in my life, but when I get my own, that's probably what I'll do, and I'll check and make sure, like, hey, this is how I feel. Do you agree with that? Can you roll with that? Do you disagree? That would be a very important thing to talk about before even taking a knee or even considering that. And it was just a shame to see that. I definitely have learned very recently how things can be messed up in your own family. I didn't know it could get like the way it is, and it can get there. I mean, it was so crazy that it was so crazy that there was police officers inside of the chapel, and boom, they were right there, right where they needed to be. It's a thing. So we're starting off this week strong. I have my oatmeal. Gonna do it again. It's not as fun as sugar maple oatmeal. I'm gonna see if I can make myself eat it without the sugar. Woo, that's gonna be hard. But I want to see if they can help me just inch me a little bit closer to 260 pounds, get that waistline down. I measure myself, and I'm gonna do that. So that's all for today. I'm gone.